Welcome. I'm going to go over 8 mainly small cap, all in decentralized finance. I'm excited to do this. I actually haven't done a video like this, and I've had my channel for over a year, a video where I'm just going to run through a bunch of, like I said, mainly small cap crypto in the decentralized finance space. So that's an industry, an area, decentralized finance, real world asset tokenization, that I believe is going to take off. It's all going to be DeFi. One will be RWA. And I'm going to go through them quickly, and I'm going to tell you about 1 or 2 things as to why I love them so much. My disclaimer, I'm Brian, big dumb animal. Do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. I do have a crypto school down below. You'll see a link with a QR code because I noticed a lot of people watch this on the television. In there, I have courses to go over everything, daily discussions and updates Monday through Friday on the market. And we talk about individual cryptos, what to buy, when I'm selling, that sort of thing. Let's jump right into these. So as you know, or probably know, on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, they rank everything. So we're going to look at a couple on the Sui network, or layer 1, I should say. They're a top 20. Hedera, which is a top 20, and also on Base. Now, Base is built on top of Ethereum. It doesn't have its own crypto. If it did, I gotta believe it would be in the top 20. As I mentioned, I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. In the description down below, there's a link to a video on each one of these. I go into great detail if you want to learn more about them. Let's first get started with the Hedera network. If you're not familiar, this is called DeFi Llama. You can go in, look at the various layer 1s or layer 2s, and you can see what's been built upon them in decentralized finance, ranking them by the most TVL, total value locked, essentially which ones are the largest. So that's how you can find the top ones. Here on Hedera, we're going to start with SaucerSwap, then we're going to look at Bonzo. Each one of these layer 1s or layer 2s we talk about, we're going to talk about a decentralized exchange, where there's liquidity pools and you can swap your crypto. That's how you essentially buy and sell crypto. And then a borrow lend, which is a liquidity platform so that you can stake and earn rewards. And you can also borrow against some of your crypto for various reasons. That's the essence of decentralized finance at the moment. So first one, SaucerSwap, SAUCE. It's the #1 decentralized finance platform on Hedera. If we look here, the market cap is only 50 million, fully diluted, 55 million, because almost all of their tokens are circulating. So we're looking at a 50 million market cap on a decentralized exchange, the #1, on Hedera, which is a top 20 crypto and one of the top layer 1s out there. To me, this is grossly undervalued. The video that you can watch in the description down below compares it to other layer 1 decentralized exchanges of the previous 2020 run-up. And you'll see that based on what happened back then, if that were to happen again, this could 100 to 250x. I know that's a crazy thing to say, but mathematically, it's possible. What I wanted to point out about them recently is here's a roadmap that they put out. They just got additional funding from the Hedera Foundation. And over the next year, they're going to have a mobile app. They're going to integrate Layer 0 and Axelar, bridge integrations, or bridge across different layer 1s, limit stop loss, DCA orders, a lot of more advanced features onto an exchange like Perpetual futures, and then another version of the entire protocol next year. That's a big deal to get that additional 12 months of funding from the Hedera Foundation. So that's sauce. Let's look at the #1 borrow lend on top of it, on top of Hedera. Market cap barely 9 million. Fully diluted 30 million. They have 400 million total supply, only roughly 100 million, a little more in circulation, 25%. Fully diluted is only 30 million. This is another one I think will blow up. Very small market cap. If you follow me, I've got videos, many of them on Bonzo. They do a weekly call every Friday. They have an excellent, I would call them, management team from both a development standpoint and the individuals that are running the project. It's built on top of Aave. Aave is, well, I should say it's using the Aave code base. So it's essentially a copy of probably the best, largest, oldest platform out there. And that's one that I use for Ethereum and whatnot, with billions of dollars running through it. They took that code base and they're using it on Hedera, essentially Bulletproof. They recently had an event with a major liquidation. Everything went off without a hitch, operated exactly the way it should. To me, that's a huge deal. Next, we're going to look at the Base network. You're familiar with Coinbase. Coinbase, as an exchange, it also has a wallet that you can use. They came up with an update to that wallet. We'll talk about that in a second. Coinbase has well over 100 million users based in the US, and you can buy their stock on the publicly traded market. They don't have a base token. It's really what you would call a layer 2 built on top of Ethereum. So no problems with security and uptime and everything else. It's locked in. We're going to look at two here. Morpho, the number one lending on Base. And then we're going to look at Aerodrome, which is a decentralized exchange. First up, Aerodrome. Market cap. Now this one's larger. I said some are not small market cap. This one's much larger, but I'm still very excited about it. 900 million, fully diluted 1.8 billion. Why am I so excited? Well, I've always said since I've been covering AERO for a while, at some time, Coinbase, can just turn on that spigot of users and point them all over at that exchange or one on their network. They were probably waiting to see of all the exchanges on Base, which one would kind of bubble to the top and be the most popular. It's Aerodrome. What did they do recently? Last month or so ago, they said, you know what? We're coming out with a new app, the Base app, and we're going to integrate an exchange. And they said they're going to integrate Aerodrome. So in other words, they're pointing that fire hose at Aerodrome. And it was just today, this is August 8th when I'm making the video, where they said starting today, it's been integrated. Every asset, every pool, every launch, now over 100 million Coinbase users can use Aerodrome easily. And I think in some cases, they're using it in the background. They may not even realize it. I believe for that reason alone, it's really going to take off. The next one I mentioned was Morpho for borrow lend. Morpho's sitting at 600 million market cap, fully diluted 2 billion. Again, this one's not a smaller market cap one. However, Morpho is the borrow lend platform for Coinbase. Borrowing and lending against what? Bitcoin, the number one crypto by market cap, considered to be the largest store of value. It's the one everyone looks at, not so much as a utility coin, but a store of value that essentially everyone believes will just grow over time. And if that's the case, because it's currently, for the last 10 years or so, been beating everything. It's been beating the gains on commodities like gold and silver. It's been beating the Dow Jones 30, the S&P 500. It's been beating everything. If that's the case, no one's going to want to sell it unless they have to. Instead, they'll take loans against it, and Morpho is how it's going to happen. And I've always said and been a big believer that if we want to onboard more and more people to crypto over time, just like the internet, just like cell phones, just like computers, you have to make it easier to use. So listen to this. This is one of the founders of Morpho talking about how a user on Coinbase who has Bitcoin can easily get a loan against it.
Wallet. So as a user, they don't see that it's DeFi. They don't need to set up a wallet and take care of the seed phrase and then go do unwrap stuff, etc. They have get rid of all the complexity of using DeFi protocols, and this is like where the magic is just like super seamless, one click, Face ID, and you can borrow USDC, get USDC, and actually spend your USDC at the grocery using the Coinbase card or like trade against that.
So in case the volume's not loud enough or you couldn't understand what he was saying, he basically said this. In order to get a loan prior to what Coinbase has done, you would have to know and understand and learn a variety of things in terms of wallets and how to connect and do X, Y, and Z. But now through the Coinbase app, you're literally just going to click a button on the app on your phone and have that money, the loan against your BTC, instantly deposited in your account, which you can then instantly spend. That's Morpho. They're powering it. Another top is SUI, S-U-I, another top layer 1. If we look at what's built upon it, we're going to look at SuiLend for the borrow lend and Bluefin for the decentralized exchange. SuiLend, market cap 42 million, fully diluted 60 million. Small cap, I think it's going to take off. Almost all of its circulating supply is out. Looks like 70%. That's why there's a differential here. 60 million fully diluted value is nothing. I did a video on SuiLend where I said, hey, look, it could potentially 100x. I know, another one that sounds crazy. Take a look at that video down below if you're interested. And they recently had this post, I believe it was today, Bitcoin Fi, they call it BTC Fi, is happening. It's happening on Sui. SuiLend gives you everything you need to start building your own strategic Bitcoin reserve. Big news coming later this month. That could be very interesting. Bluefin, the decentralized exchange, market cap 23 million, fully diluted 77 million, because they only have about a third of their tokens out. Another small cap, and there it looks like the largest exchange on top of Sui with an extremely low market cap. The next two are not on any three of those. However, they're very small market cap, and I have reasons to why I pick them. The first, I think it's pronounced Messier, M-E-S-S-I-E-R, M87. Market cap 60 million, fully diluted 60 million because everything is out. Messier, and they put out some information about a change they just had. I have a video down below with a link. If you want to look into it, it'll teach you everything about exchanges. Centralized exchanges, like a Coinbase. You buy, they hold it there for you. Highest fees. I'm kind of simplifying this. Next, decentralized exchange. Less fees. Not really fees going to the company running it. And it's in your own wallet so that you have custody of it. It's not sitting on that exchange. Call that the next iteration of exchanges. And the decentralized exchanges are what crypto is all about. Trying to connect, in a way, people and money without having that central control like a bank. They did the next iteration, which is brilliant. Again, watch the whole video for an explanation, but peer-to-peer. In essence, it's as if you and I are doing a direct trade. Not one of these I'm putting in a limit order and it might be filled. I put the price in the one price I want. You say whether or not you want it. Your money or the crypto you're selling me goes into an escrow. My money goes into an escrow. It's then exchanged and we are done. And they're launching, and they just added a backup so that if the entire order doesn't fill that way, I can opt to have it very quickly go out to a decentralized exchange and fulfill the remainder of the order. In other words, if I wanted 100,000 tokens and you can only sell me 70,000, we can do that deal. And then the other 30,000 can be done elsewhere. Brilliant. I think that this is the next iteration of what exchanges should be. I'm all in. I love Messier, M-E-S-S-I-E-R. It's M87. The next one is Redbelly Network, RBNT. Huge background about how they were created in Australia with a university in conjunction with some other companies. And they are a real world asset tokenization layer 1. I added them because they're such a low market cap at 37 million, fully diluted 185 million. They have about 20% of their token supply out. What's interesting is this. If you go to rwa.io, there's another one called rwa.xyz. They're websites that are attempting to list and to bring together all of the different networks and all of the different assets that are being tokenized, roll them all up into one large dashboard. Redbelly Network is listed on rwa.io. Go to their homepage, scroll down, check this out. What's the number one in terms of total value? It's Redbelly Network. 54 billion currently tokenized on RBNT. They're a layer 1. Next is Ethereum at 15 billion. The next DC, Polygon, Solana, Stellar, and it goes on and on. They have about 4 major companies using them to tokenize. The majority of that, just so you know, are carbon credits, Whether or not that changes your mind as to whether or not you would want to invest in them. But considering they are only 185 million fully diluted, and yet they have more assets actually currently at this moment in time tokenized on chain, to me is a positive, and that's why I added them. So that was it. That's all 8, except for 2. They're very small cap. But in the DeFi space, on 3 networks, Base, Hedera, and Sui, and then 2 M87, which is on top of Ethereum, with the next iteration of exchanges, and then Redbelly Network and RWA. I included it because it's such a low market cap, and it is crushing everyone in terms of the value that they have locked on-chain tokenized real-world assets. As I always say, I hope we can all make generational wealth together with crypto. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.